What's up, everybody? This is Steve from Altcoin Buzz coming at you this good Sunday afternoon, Monday morning to you if you're on the other side of the world. And we've got a little bit of an uptick in today's market, but we still have an under $400 billion coin market cap, total market capitalization. So we are definitely down over the 7 days. Comment below what you guys are doing. Are you guys holding out? Are you personally panicking? Or are you one of those guys that is shoveling more money in, making some investments? If you are putting more money in, I'd love to hear what you guys are investing into. Personally, I'm staying steady. I've got my long-term investments, and what I'm really looking forward to is this time next year or this coming December to see comparatively what my portfolio does over the course of this full 12 months that is 2018. It's definitely unpredictable, so you can't say with any certainty that any of these coins, even in the top 10, that all of them are going to still remain in the top 10, because 12 months ago, a lot of these coins that either A, didn't exist, or B, were way, way down in their total market capitalization. But we are seeing an increase in Bitcoin dominance for the most part, so it does appear that many investors are shying away from the altcoins, or the altcoins have taken a bigger hit than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is still sitting under $10,000, but it seems to have found some support levels sometime yesterday. So we're up about 8% there. Total market is up basically a couple tens of billions of dollars right there. Now, if you guys aren't following us on Twitter, you guys can check us out. We're at altcoinbuzz.io. Jeff and some of the other people on the team are out there commenting, dropping polls, giving you guys some news, sharing things from other coins that we follow and other market news. So it's just a good way to kind of have like an aggregation of what's going on out there and a little bit more altcoin buzz in between our videos. So the other day, Jeff had posted on here, and if you're not following him, he's at blockchain_JAY. So he's blockchain J. And somebody else I've seen post something like this previously, and it poses an interesting question that I wanted to have a brief discussion on. So if you've got some comments about these remarks here that Jeff had listed on his personal Twitter account, it says, IRS says cryptocurrency is property, SEC says it's a security, ICO projects call it a utility, and investors call it the future of money, so aka currency. What shall we really agree upon? And my personal thought is that being that we are in a market that we call decentralized, unregulated, self-regulated, if you will, these other agencies are trying to bring about regulation. And the only way that the IRS and the SEC can really bring about any type of regulation on it, or even the CFTC, is that they have to classify it as something of which they have authority over. So, you might see banks looking at it as money and being a direct competition to their line of business. Investors, a lot of people in the cryptocurrency sphere, we do have cryptocurrencies that are, admittedly coins. You have those things like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, stuff like that are, with their own purposes, meant to be a currency. People call Bitcoin a store of value. You got to be cautious when calling something a store of value, because then it loses its commodity as being either a utility token or B, a currency, and then it moves into something that could then be classified as property or cryptocurrency, property or security is what I meant to say. So if it becomes property, then the IRS has domain over that. And then that's where we see their clarification. Can't really call it a ruling, but a clarification in late 2017 about the taxation of cryptocurrencies, that it's no longer considered a like-kind exchange, as we've mentioned many times. To go from one cryptocurrency to another, it's not a fair exchange or a like-kind, even though they're very similar. It's considered a sale of property, and depending on how long you've had it, less than 12 months or greater than 12 months, it either becomes short-term or long-term. So you could be looking at paying capital gains on that. And that's because they consider it to be like the same kind of purchase that you would have if you were buying any other type of property, aside from being something like investment real estate. So the IRS is definitely dipping their hands into it, and you guys would be, in the US at least, would be looking at paying taxation on it. But is that a blanket statement? Should that be a blanket statement on the IRS's behalf to say that all cryptocurrencies or all coins or all tokens are the same classification of property? And I personally have to say no. And if you look at what the projects claim to be, there are certainly a lot of projects out there that are straight up just simply utility tokens. There's also what happens to the classification of coins such as pure utility tokens that are used in a closed environment like a business blockchain solution where they've created an ERC20 token or a NEO token or one of these other platformer tokens and use those as an intermediary for passing data, doing validations, reconciliation of goods and services, smart contracts and things like that. Does the IRS then have the ability to dive into these non-publicly traded currencies and look at those as any type of potential property that should be taxed? I would say that given that those types of pure utility tokens that aren't publicly traded on the marketplaces or on exchanges may be somewhat exempt from it, because then you might assume that they have a null dollar value, meaning that they're worth $0. And then you could exchange them as many times as you want. You're going from 0 to 0. You're not creating a taxable event because there's been no change in value there. So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it, because it's certainly an interesting conversation. And let's go ahead and bring up some of the comments that have already been discussed here in response to Jeff's comments. So we have Colorado Cryptonaut. He's saying they call it whatever they can tax the most. And he may be referring to the IRS, since that's the only tax levying agency there being mentioned. Interestingly, you've got Wyoming, as one of our previous videos points out. The state of Wyoming is passing legislation to say that things that are classified as utility tokens, and it'd be interesting to say, does the project classify as utility token, or does an agency have to classify it as utility token? But Wyoming, at a state level at least, which of course could be overridden by federal level, is looking at not creating taxation on pure utility tokens, because that would meaning that the state would not take state income tax from the trade or sale of utility tokens, but and creating sort of safe haven. We've also got other states. I live in Arizona, and Arizona is looking at taking in cryptocurrency for the payment of taxes. So if you owe property taxes in the state of Arizona, it's very likely that they'll have a portal up for accepting Bitcoin and possibly other cryptocurrencies to pay taxes, which means that they see it as a way to pay debt, right? Because like when you look at the top of your dollar bill, if you're lucky enough to be able to open up your wallet and pull some hard cash out of there, and it's not all tied up in crypto, but if you've got some of that fiat currency in there, that US dollar right on it says that it's, legal tender for payment of debts. And if the state of Arizona and some other states out there, because we're not alone, is looking at being able to settle debt, aka property taxes and other back taxes, in the form of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, then essentially they've created, on a state level, the clarification that those types of cryptocurrencies can be used as legal tender for payment of debt, at least payment of debt to the state or the county treasurers. So that is something quite interesting. So going into more of these commentary, and as you know, if you follow my videos, I like to reply to comments here on YouTube, so don't be shy. Let me know what you think, and give me a thumbs up. That way you can basically promote this video through Google's algorithm to more people who like cryptocurrency. Real interesting note, if you take a look at Google Trends, and that's actually something, you go to Google and type in Google Trends, it's going to show you search volumes of things out there, of which if you take things and type in words like Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, cryptocurrency, you're going to see a big swell of search volume right around the time that the market capitalization was massive. And then you're going to see how that cliff dove after the middle of January. And if you've wondered why there haven't been quite as many people watching videos about cryptocurrency, whether it's here on Altcoin Buzz or you got Doug Polk Crypto, Data Dash, and some of the others, but our fan base is still staying high, as we're nearing in actually on 200,000 fans. We really appreciate you guys out there. It's been a whirlwind these last 4 or 5 months getting this channel built up. But there's now instead of like 30, 40, 50,000 people watching a video in a week, we've now got like 5,000, 20,000 probably at best of people watching a video. And it's because we're not acquiring as many new users. Our existing users aren't chiming into cryptocurrencies. Maybe some people still like the channel that have really like got burned hard or something like that by crypto, or they're just less excited because there's ups and downs now and not just ups followed by ups and sky's the limit. So you guys that are still there, you guys are the real troopers, and you guys are the ones that are, whether you're putting more money in or not, or whether you're still learning about cryptocurrencies, you guys are going to be the ones that benefit from the next massive surge because you're in it now, before the surge happens. And that surge from late November all the way through early January was certainly not the only time that cryptocurrency has seen those types of gains. So definitely stay around, get ready to ride the bull, because once it comes out of the gates, it's going to be fast. And if you're not already strapped on, you're not prepared, right? So let's see what else other people say here. Clay37 says that he agreed that the Supreme Court will probably have to make that ruling. So, do they? I don't know. Can these agencies self-classify new goods and services? And how many times does the paradigm change out there in property and cryptocurrency? I mean, what happens next? Are they going to start classifying your World of Warcraft character? You know, you've got a level 60 character. Are they going to start to classify that as property and stuff like that too? But at what point do all these digital things like your Sims character or any properties you hold on, if you remember the floppy disk days of Sim City and stuff like that, like, are you going to start paying property taxes on your simulated city? Is cryptocurrency really any different? And same kind of thing, like a lot of these phone apps that end up having a value, essentially. You got freemium apps where you get them, download them for free, and you got to pay in to be able to get power-ups like Clash of Clans, things like that. Does your profile there then end up becoming a piece of property that could be taxed? Probably not, because I don't know if you could really sell or trade those, but I do know people do that with World of Warcraft. So kind of weird that they could jump in and just classify these. But the more we go out there and call these things money and stuff, the more we're kind of inviting agencies to make determinations. So, it is what it is, but we got to stand up for it. And, those that are out there that are being complete anarchists that are in this because they don't like the government, whatever, if you're too vocal about it, then you're going to draw a lot of negative attention too, because those agencies don't like that. So if you are of that type of mentality, more power to you. You certainly have the right to be that way. Just maybe keep it more low key. Don't be so out there about it, claiming to bring down the system, because the system is going to try to defend itself. That's what it's designed to do. 789, he says that this is, let's call it the future. Definitely can agree with that. L, she said, what we should be asking ourselves is, what's cryptocurrency's value? Perhaps its value lies in what we are using it for. Like perhaps integrating it into everyday usage may answer the question. I'm assuming she's saying that it could be a utility token. Not really sure on what you meant there, L, but thanks for chiming in there on the Twitter response. Said Bruno Felix says, coming soon this year, many companies will release the platforms. We'll see mass adoption in 2019. I've been working on the sidelines of a blockchain project, a very potentially massive one that may or may not have a public ICO attached to it, but it's definitely going to be solving business 3 levels at a minimum of business needs here on this company that I'm working with it on. And it definitely has the potential that, we're not alone. There's other companies out there trying to implement these things for inventory tracking and resolution, different stages of payment agreements, contracts between companies. It's just kind of crazy the ways that blockchain can become immutable and trustworthy, a way of doing record keeping and payment reconciliation. And even businesses potentially trading coins in and amongst themselves, kind of as an anagram or an analogy to how banks are trading Ripple amongst themselves in theory. So Nick posting a gif of Shifty Eyes. They are a steal right now. I almost feel guilty buying at these prices. Well, so there you have it. Nick at All Star Altcoins is shoveling more money in. So, got to recognize when there's a dip. Sometimes a dip looks like a panic sell. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes that's the case. If you've ever gone and bought something at the store and it's been in clearance, maybe your assumption was, man, it's only cheap because they're just going to be getting rid of these. They're never going to order them again. But lo and behold, maybe they're just like overstocked and need to liquidate. And then they finally move it and then they restock it. So, restock it at regular prices. So it says dayweed, according to quantum mechanics, it can be all those things. And that's absolutely true. It can be all things at all times. So that's kind of a scientific philosophy being applied to cryptocurrency. So again, comment below. I'm going to cut the video off here at about the 15-minute mark. I appreciate you guys listening. Stay strong with Altcoin Buzz. We'll post some more videos. Talk to you guys soon.